Hello YouTube. I am just getting in from a walk to go buy groceries. Well, a couple of groceries. It's one of the standard routes that I make. I live in a food desert, so convenience stores and the community pharmacy are the closest things, and it's a mile and some walk with my backpack bundled because it's cold, or online delivery because I'm an agoraphobic. So let me take my goods off. I see this stuff on YouTube, the unboxings. And the really good people, they take and unbox their stuff and send the packages to recycling. So, excellent. If you're gonna do shipping, and if you have agoraphobia like me and a very tiny, practically non-existent social network, you don't drive, can't even yet maneuver regular busing. I walk to where I can. The advent of home delivery of food is really good because I can access food and supplies, more nutritious food and supplies than I could get from the convenience stores in the area, but it's more expensive. But I can only carry so much, and I can only walk so far. So it is what it is, and I utilize Cameron when I can to take me to the store. So, one of these days I'm going to do an unbox. The boxes and packaging go to recycling, and I try to get recycled items if I have to get items like tissue paper and stuff. But my unboxing videos would consist of, hey, she got a case of toilet paper and some coffee. So yeah, not so thrilling, because that tends to be the purchases that I'm making online in these huge packages. It's like, oh look, cat litter, because I can't carry a 50-pound bag of cat litter on my walks back to my house. Yeah. So, what did I make an epic couple mile trip for today? This is my sad mock unboxing moment in the life of an agoraphobic. Cat food, because she's worth it. I have been slacking a little on my outdooring. And I got behind on her cat food. And I never do such a thing. So, overly priced, very heavy cat food. And because I drink excessive amounts of coffee, it's a crutch. It's a crutch I need to work on. Decaf. I know, a lot of people are like, what is even the point? This is a travesty to nature to have decaf coffee. It's why. For the sake of my little heart, I drink this by the gallon. And I like to not have my heart explode from too much caffeine. So primarily what I drink, this is just happened to be a large amount for $5.99, which was pretty cheap for the walkable stores for this amount. So, like it or not, that's what I got. And the piece de resistance, what do I spend my money on? A warm pair of slipper socks, because it is freezing in here and my portable heater is out of commission for the moment, and I'm yearning to be cozy. So this was my grand splurge. Day in the life, right? So, I'm an agoraphobic, and I got by without a partner, but having a partner really, really helps. But I was thinking on my walk home, like, I wonder if people wonder how somebody like me meets a partner. I met him at this big party I was at. Or at the bar, right? Yeah. No. Not gonna happen. I go to my job. I come home. I walk for food and stamps and things that I have discovered in the strangest places in my neighborhood that you can acquire. Cold medicine at the student bookstore on campus. I'm a couple blocks from the community college. I have navigated the most bizarre items in a few mile radius. And then I go to a lot of doctors, and I tried church to add to my repertoire of people. Kind of worked. And I'm at that place now where I'm starting to broach remastering some bus routes and trying to establish a concrete form of therapy where I aim for places that I can go to that are above and beyond and figure out how to get there by myself, and places that I could utilize for my future, for meeting other people or volunteering to the point where I can get used to and potentially work more than that. So clearly I didn't meet him at one of these big parties that I have or I go to. You know, I didn't meet him at the club that I don't go to. I'll go out with Cam. Agoraphobics can get overly reliant on the security of their safe people. Gotta stop that. I have a tendency of backsliding when I get into a relationship because I get really familiar. It's like bringing your house along with you. Like bringing your house along with you. Of having my partner with me. And then I forget to keep up on those other things that you do when you're out. And then suddenly I go out by myself and I'm like, panicking when I was fine with it before. So, I'm back to upkeeping. So he met me long before I met him. He saw me outside of my job in an alley sitting on the ground eating a sandwich, apparently, as he tells me. He was working late. He had a pretty professional job at the time, and he was working late doing IT work for a 911 center that was being put up, and he saw me sitting on the ground late at night in an alley eating a sandwich. And he found this intriguing. And he found me in all my eccentricities, for whatever reason, endearing and intriguing. And so he, as he calls it, stalked me. He stalked me on his breaks and his trips back and forth downtown. But really, he waitful watching me for 9-10 months, and I was oblivious. He would be back and forth between his job, and he would see me go on my little stuff runs around downtown, and on my breaks at work, always by myself, doing my little routines of existence, and he was intrigued. What is this girl's story? What is this all about? And he kept trying to get my attention for a long time. He asked for a lighter from me. He asked directions. He passed me a few times. And when you're an isolated individual, you recognize every face that ever asked you any one question because you have no social network or a very tiny social network. When people with a full normal life have a lot of faces and a lot of people, the person they stop and ask for directions, they can't remember 2 seconds later. So I assumed he was just another member of the public that spoke to me. I see them pass and I remember them, but they never remember me. So when I would see him around, I didn't think to continue any kind of conversation with him because I didn't realize he was trying to start a conversation with me. He would toss a nod now and again. And I was like, well, isn't that nice? Somebody remembers that I'm breathing. That's so nice. Somebody around here knows me. Like, they spoke to me and they remember me. Cool. No clue that he was trying to strike up anything. He even hollered at me in the coffee shop where I go and sit and people watch, and I ignored him. We compared notes later on how this all worked out. He was hugely embarrassed. He was behind me in line and he tried to get my attention, and I thought, who would be talking to me? I don't know anybody. So I didn't even look around because of course it wouldn't be me. I know no one. This was after my previous partner passed away and I didn't know anybody. I still have a pretty small collective, but at the time I had no collective. I had my partner and he had passed. And I was just me. Walking around, doing my thing. And it meant a lot. He stuck in my head because I stuck in his, and I really needed that at that time. But I just thought he was a polite person. Yeah, whatever. So some time had passed, and I was back up at that coffee shop, and there was only 3 people there. He showed up there, and his friend, who was managing the place for the night, and they went out back to talk and invited me along. Little did I know that this was a long conversation between my current boyfriend and this manager, because he had told her, they'd been friends for years, and he had told her all about this different girl that intrigues him so, and he cannot strike up a conversation with her. He can't seem to get her attention because she's dense. He didn't say that she was dense, but dense, especially at the time, really low self-esteem, and airplane. Lack of self-awareness. So I'm sitting there eating a peanut butter bagel, reading a book, got my headphones on to avoid people, and she tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "You want to come outside and talk?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going to do this social thing." Gosh, I was really bad at the time. And I went out there and I quietly watched the 2 of them talk. And then she left. She went back into the store, partially to leave us alone and partially because she was managing it. And so he and I just stayed out there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like talking to a person. Like I said, I was really bad back then. Talking to a stranger, being social, spontaneously social. This is so terrifying. And needed. It was so needed. Oh man. And when we actually started talking that first time, having a real conversation with each other for the very first time, it was so easy. I have only ever experienced that with my previous partner that I was with for 6 years that passed away unexpectedly. In my life, it was like, somebody like me especially, it was like I've always known him. The conversation didn't drop. There was no awkward pauses. It was so easy. We covered everything you can talk about. And I met him up there and started that conversation at about 11 o'clock in the afternoon. And we kept on talking and just being around each other and spending that day doing whatever. Walking around. We went for food 2 times. We went to a museum. And stopped and got me some groceries. Still do that. For the whole day. From 11 a.m. till 11 p.m. And it was like we had always known each other. It was not uncomfortable, and it so should have been for any 2 people, let alone me. And it was like that just ever since the first time we had that conversation. We saw each other and talked to each other every single day. And it was like we'd always known each other, and it just fit. And so, yeah, that's how an agoraphobic, at least this agoraphobic, meets their partner. He found me in my usual places, doing my usual things, at my job, on my break, and he found me, some of my worst, in all of my glory, appealing, for whatever reason. And he tried, and he tried, and he tried, and he tried to get through my confused self-perception and assumption that no one would speak to me, no one would see me, no one would care to have a conversation with me, screaming, knocking very loudly at my bubble here, until he found a way to talk to me, and once the conversation began, it never ended. At least not yet, and I hope it doesn't. 6 years on. We're almost at my longest relationship ever. And we help each other grow. And he's definitely seen all my eccentricities, and he hasn't run screaming yet. In fact, he helps me navigate them and try to get past them. So, that's my pseudo-mocking haul video, and how an agoraphobic gets a man. That's how I got my man. Love you guys. There's a story by YouTube. Have a good day.